The room was full of applause, but I sat frozen in my chair, my hands locked together in my lap. Across the conference table, Arthur, my father-in-law and the company's founder, raised his champagne glass with the booming authority everyone in the room recognized. I'm thrilled to announce our new regional director, my brilliant niece, Lily Monroe. 8 weeks. That was how long Lily had been with the company. I had been here 3 years, working 60-hour weeks, missing dinners and weekends, carrying this department from 12 employees to nearly 50. Arthur had told me more than once that the promotion was mine, that it was just a formality. And yet, here I was, clapping slowly with a smile that felt carved from stone while Lily rose to her feet in a designer suit, thanking her uncle for the opportunity. Her words about learning from my expertise and helping the department transition stung like acid. I knew what this was. Not a transition, a takeover. My nameplate still read Amy Hayes, Senior Operations Manager, but it felt like a lie now. The sympathetic glances from colleagues only made it worse. When the meeting ended, I walked back to my office in a daze. My wall was lined with 3 Employee of the Year plaques, one for every year I'd been here, mocking me now with their emptiness. My phone buzzed with a text from Joseph, my husband and Arthur's son. How did the announcement go? Finally official? I stared at it before replying. We'll talk tonight. By 5:30 p.m., my face ached from pretending I was fine. Arthur appeared in my doorway as I packed my things. Amy, could I have a word? I gestured to the chair across from me, remembering how he'd sat there only months ago, assuring me this promotion was inevitable. I know today was difficult, he began, but Lily needs guidance. I'm hoping you'll take on a senior advisory role, help her succeed, train her to do the job I had earned. I kept my voice even. 3 months ago, you told me this promotion was mine. What changed? He shifted in his seat. Business needs evolved. Lily brings fresh perspective, new ideas. I almost laughed. 8 weeks of perspective against 3 years of results. You're taking this too personally, he insisted. Your family. Family looks out for each other. Lily needs this more than you do. You're secure here. There it was, the truth I had feared. I wasn't valued. I was expected to sacrifice. Reliable Amy. Predictable Amy. The one who kept things running while others reaped the rewards. That evening, I sat across from Joseph at the dinner table, lasagna steaming between us. His jaw tightened as I described the champagne toast, the patronizing tone, the request that I train my replacement. He actually said you didn't need it because you're secure here, he asked, voice edged with anger. Word for word. He pushed back his chair, reaching for his phone. I'm calling him right now. I grabbed his wrist. No, this isn't your fight. It's mine. The next morning, Lily bounced into my office at exactly 9:00 a.m., chirping about how excited she was to learn from me. For 2 hours, I walked her through the Morrison account, the largest client we had, explaining how delicate their relationship was. She scribbled notes, nodding enthusiastically, but her questions revealed how little she understood. When I told her that a single misstep could cost nearly half the department their jobs, she froze, eyes wide with disbelief. By lunchtime, my patience was thinning. But the breaking point came in the break room when Arthur's voice rumbled through the thin walls of his office. He was telling Lily the transition was perfect, that I was dependable but stagnant, that the company needed innovation and energy. He even said I was 42 and too old to bring fresh ideas, that I would adapt because I had no choice. I stood there, gripping the counter, every word searing into me, predictable, reliable, no other options. That night, At my kitchen table with Joseph working late, I opened my laptop. My fingers hovered for a moment before typing, "Dear Arthur, please accept this letter as my formal notice of resignation." I kept it short, professional, final. No accusations, no anger, just a clean end. I printed it, signed it, slid it into an envelope, and felt a strange peace wash over me. The next morning, I put on my navy suit and pearl earrings, walked into the office, and handed the letter to Arthur. He read it, his face draining of color, then flushing red. "You can't be serious," he exploded. But I was. For the first time in years, I was completely serious. Arthur's chair scraped back as he stood, pacing behind his desk like a caged animal. "Amy, we just promoted Lily 2 weeks ago. She needs your guidance. The Morrison account alone, this is reckless. We can talk about a raise, a new title, whatever you want." I remained seated, my voice calm. This isn't about money or titles anymore. This is about respect. And I finally see I don't have any here. His face tightened. "That's not true. Your family." I stood slowly, smoothing down my skirt. Family would have been honest. Family wouldn't have expected me to train my replacement behind my back. Family wouldn't describe me as predictable and trapped. Arthur's jaw dropped. "You heard that conversation?" "Every word," I said. The silence between us was suffocating. He looked suddenly older, slumped in his chair, as if years had settled on him in an instant. "Amy, please, don't throw away what you've built here." I moved to the door, pausing with my hand on the handle. "What I've built here is exactly what shows me I don't need to stay." "You were right, Arthur. I have been predictable, but not anymore." Walking out of that office, I felt lighter than I had in months. The air in the hallway seemed fresher, the chatter of employees less oppressive. For the first time since that cursed champagne toast, I wasn't weighed down by bitterness. I was free. Over the next 2 weeks, I worked with precision. I trained Lily with a professional smile, documented every process, tied up every loose end, but every instruction I gave her only sharpened the contrast. She didn't understand the stakes, didn't grasp the depth of relationships I'd cultivated. And though I knew it was no longer my problem, watching her stumble through fundamentals gnawed at me. On my final day, I cleared my desk and said quiet goodbyes. Some colleagues hugged me, others avoided eye contact. Guilt etched across their faces. Margaret from accounting clasped my hands, whispering, "You deserved better. Amy, don't let anyone tell you otherwise." That evening, I placed the resignation behind me like a closed door, but 2 weeks later, while reorganizing my home office, my phone rang. "Ms. Hayes, this is Rebecca Chin from Horizon Tech. I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time." Horizon Tech. My pulse quickened. They were a rising star in logistics, known for promoting from merit, not connections. "Not at all," I said carefully. "Daniel Morrison recommended you. He spoke highly of your work and suggested we reach out. We have an opening for Regional Operations Director. Would you be interested in hearing more?" I nearly dropped my coffee. Regional Director. The role Arthur had promised me but handed to Lily. Except this time, it was bigger, with 3 departments and the company's largest clients. "Yes," I breathed. "I'd be very interested." The interview process was swift. Rebecca introduced me to team leads who welcomed my expertise rather than resented it. The CEO, Marcus Williams, asked during my final interview why I'd left Alden Ventures. I thought about rehearsed responses but chose honesty. I hit a ceiling that had nothing to do with performance. Sometimes you realize loyalty without respect is just servitude. He studied me for a long moment, then nodded. We don't believe in ceilings here. We believe in earned advancement. Does that sound like something you can work with? It sounds like everything I've been looking for. 3 days later, Rebecca called with the offer. The salary was 30% higher than what I'd made before, with stock options and benefits Arthur would never have considered. When I stepped into Horizon Tech on my first day, I felt like I had crossed into another world. The building was modern, the energy vibrant, the culture open. My colleagues didn't see me as predictable Amy. They saw me as a leader. Within weeks, I was making decisions that stuck. When I proposed restructuring client communications based on lessons I'd learned at Alden Ventures, Marcus asked me to present to the board. During the meeting, he frowned. "You've been doing this for years, and they never promoted you." Apparently, I was too predictable. He chuckled. Predictability in results is exactly what leadership should deliver. Their loss, our gain. My first major test came with the Anderson Group, a client threatening to walk. I spent days preparing, drawing on every ounce of experience. The meeting lasted 3 hours. When it ended, not only had we retained their business, but they expanded their contract by 40%. Word spread quickly. Suddenly, department heads sought my input, and Marcus began pulling me into executive strategy sessions. Instead of being sidelined, I was steering the ship. For the first time in years, I felt exactly where I belonged. But even as I settled into this new chapter, whispers from my old life began to surface. Rumors about Alden Ventures, declining service, missed deadlines, Lily fumbling under the weight of responsibility she hadn't earned. And I realized Arthur's empire was starting to crack. The whispers became confirmation one afternoon when Daniel Morrison himself called my Horizon Tech office. "Amy, I wanted to give you a heads up. We'll be ending our relationship with Alden Ventures at the end of this quarter." My stomach dropped. Morrison Industries had been their crown jewel, nearly a third of their revenue. Losing them would be catastrophic. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said carefully. "What happened?" Daniel sighed. "Your replacement missed 2 of our scheduled calls. When she finally rang back, she couldn't answer basic questions. Then last week, when a $2 million shipment ended up in the wrong warehouse, she told us to file a complaint and she'd look into it when she had time." I closed my eyes. That single client relationship had taken me 3 years to build. One careful step at a time. And in weeks, it was collapsing. I tried to raise it with Arthur. Daniel continued. But he brushed me off. Said Lily represents the new direction. And if we couldn't adapt, maybe we weren't the right fit anymore. So Arthur had chosen pride over clients. I felt a strange mix of grief and grim validation. I'd poured myself into that company, and now it was rotting from the inside out. Not long after, Rebecca called me into her office. "We've had 3 companies reach out in the last week. All Alden Ventures clients. They're interested in working with us and all mentioned your name. How do you want to handle this?" I sat back, letting her words sink in. My reputation, once dismissed as predictable, was drawing business away from the very company that had underestimated me. "As long as we're responding to inquiries and not poaching, I'm comfortable leading the presentations," I said. Rebecca smiled. "Good, because I can't think of anyone better." The next month was a whirlwind. I pitched to former Alden Ventures clients who were tired of excuses, delays, and arrogance. One by one, they signed with Horizon Tech. By the end of the quarter, we had 4 new contracts, all once Arthur's, and yet, there was no joy in watching the fallout. One evening, my old colleague Margaret from accounting called me at home. Her voice trembled. "Amy, rumors say layoffs are coming. People are saying it's because you left, that you took the clients with you. I swallowed hard. Margaret, that's not true. This is Arthur's doing, not mine. I don't blame you, she said quickly. We all saw how they treated you, but some of us have been here 20 years. We have kids in college, mortgages. The weight of unintended consequences pressed on me. I didn't want good people to suffer for Arthur's arrogance. Margaret, I asked gently, would you be open to new opportunities? Horizon Tech is expanding, and will need experienced financial support. Her relief came through the line. You'd really do that for me? Of course. You deserve to be somewhere your work matters. Months later, Margaret joined Horizon Tech, thriving in a culture that valued her. And I realized this wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about helping people land where they could be seen. 6 months after leaving Alden Ventures, I received a formal invitation that made my heart race: the company's annual awards dinner. Arthur himself had requested my presence. Joseph frowned when he saw the card. You're not seriously thinking of going, are you? Actually, I said, staring at the embossed lettering. I think I am. I want to see who I've become. The ballroom was as grand as ever. But stepping inside, I felt different, stronger. Rebecca, who insisted on joining me for moral support, whispered, You look like you own this place. Former colleagues approached cautiously. Some offered warm hugs. Others avoided my eyes. Tom from accounting admitted, Things haven't been the same since you left. Honestly, seeing you move on has inspired some of us to start looking too. The lights dimmed. Arthur stepped onto the stage, looking older, his confidence thinner. He spoke of challenges, lessons, and the importance of recognizing talent. Then he paused. Our final award tonight is new, he announced. The Excellence in Leadership recognition goes to someone who may no longer be with us, but whose impact continues to shape how we do business. Amy Hayes, would you please come to the stage? My chest tightened. The room erupted in applause, and Rebecca nudged me. Go on, this is your moment. I rose, my heels clicking against the marble floor, walking toward Arthur with every eye on me. He extended a crystal award, his smile strained. Amy, your dedication to excellence set a standard that inspires us still. I took the microphone, facing the sea of familiar faces. Working at Alden Ventures taught me valuable lessons. I began, my voice steady, about business, about loyalty, and most importantly, about knowing your own worth. Hard work matters, but only when it's recognized. Loyalty matters, but never when it's one-sided. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is walk away. The applause was hesitant at first, but then Margaret clapped, followed by Tom, then more. The message was clear. Arthur's smile faltered. Lily looked mortified, and for the first time in years, I wasn't the one shrinking under their gaze. As I walked back to my seat, the applause still echoing faintly, I felt a strange calm wash over me. This was not revenge, not triumph, but closure. The woman who had once sat in that same ballroom desperate for Arthur's approval was gone. In her place stood someone who no longer needed his validation. After the dinner, as guests mingled with wine glasses and forced smiles, Arthur approached my table. Rebecca quietly excused herself, leaving us face to face for the first time since my resignation. That was quite a speech, he said. His tone caught between admiration and bitterness. I suppose I deserved it. It wasn't about you, I replied evenly. It was about me, about finally saying out loud what I wish I had understood years ago. He looked tired, shadows under his eyes. His once commanding presence diminished. Amy, we're restructuring. If you ever wanted to come back, I raised a hand, cutting him off. Arthur, stop. 6 months ago, maybe I would have considered proving myself to you again. But tonight, I realized I don't need to prove anything anymore. Not to you. Not to anyone. His shoulders sagged, and for the first time, I almost pitied him. The company is struggling without you. The company is struggling because you made decisions based on family ties instead of merit. That was your choice, and it's not my problem anymore. I picked up my purse and the heavy crystal award he had handed me, a symbol of both irony and acknowledgement. I hope things work out for Alden Ventures. Truly. But my chapter there is closed. Walking out of the ballroom with Rebecca at my side, I felt lighter than ever. She linked her arm through mine, smiling. So, how does it feel to have the last word? Like freedom, I admitted. And for once, I didn't feel the need to say anything more. That night, Joseph was waiting at home with a cup of tea and a concerned look. How was it? Perfect, I said softly, and I meant it. I placed the award on my bookshelf next to a framed photo from my first day at Horizon Tech. Two symbols side by side, one of what I had endured, the other of what I had become. Looking at them together, I finally understood something I had missed all along. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living fully into the person you were always meant to be, even if someone else was blind to your worth. At Horizon Tech, my days became filled with collaboration, innovation, and genuine respect. My ideas were heard, my experience leveraged, my leadership trusted. Margaret thrived in her new role, reminding me daily that people bloom when they're planted where they're valued. Other former Alden employees found their way to us too, each carrying stories of frustration turned into renewal. Meanwhile, industry gossip painted a bleak picture of Alden Ventures, clients slipping away, morale crumbling, talent drained. Arthur's insistence on blood ties over ability had hollowed out the company from within. I felt no joy in their decline, only a sober recognition that the lessons I had learned were now being written into their downfall. The real lesson, though, wasn't about them. It was about me and about anyone who's ever been underestimated, sidelined, or told they're too predictable to matter. Your worth isn't measured by titles handed out in boardrooms or applause in banquet halls. It's measured by the quiet resilience that keeps you going, the loyalty you show yourself when no one else does, the courage to walk away from places that no longer see you. And it's measured by what happens when you finally find the right place, the one that values what you bring, not who you're related to or how convenient you are to overlook. As I stood in my home office one evening, watching the sunlight catch both the Crystal Award and the Horizon Tech photo, I realized something simple and profound: loyalty without respect is just servitude. But loyalty combined with respect is partnership. That's the kind of loyalty worth giving. That's the kind worth fighting for. If this story touched you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring journeys like this one. And tell me in the comments, have you ever walked away from a place that didn't value you, only to discover something better waiting? I'd love to hear your story.